Another leak out of the SCOTUS, in this case showing that it was apparently Chief Justice John Roberts who was instrumental in setting up some of Donald Trump's big and I would say insane wins in the SCOTUS. And so way back months ago, after Trump tried to get SCOTUS involved to block the indictments against him, Roberts apparently sent the other 8 members of the Supreme Court a confidential memo showing that he was super angry about the way that the appellate courts had dealt with these issues up until this point. So this is back in February 22nd, when we should have probably been adjudicating these various cases. But so he tore into the appellate court opinion greenlighting the trial, calling it inadequate and poorly reasoned. On one key point, he complained the lower court judges, quote, failed to grapple with the most difficult questions altogether. You know, deep philosophical questions like, should we have a president or should we have a king? You know, some people like one, some like the other.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
So he wrote not only that the Supreme Court should take the case, which would stall the trial, and did, but also how the justices should decide it. Quote, I think it likely that we will view the separation of powers analysis differently from the appeals court. In other words, grant Mr. Trump greater protection from prosecution. And he was right. They did. He read the court well. They have a supermajority and they want a God emperor. So I guess he did know that. And so they picked it up. They stalled literally as long as they could. They waited until the last day to put out their decision. And even then, after they had already made it effectively impossible for the case to go to trial and be concluded before the election, they decided that's not actually enough. Also, we're gonna make him even more immune to even the most explicit intentional criminality. And so that's what it is. Like we would normally, the story we'd expect it's a Clarence Thomas thing, maybe it's a Samuel Alito thing. John Roberts, the guy who's supposed to be somewhat more reasonable, he's the one who apparently made this happen. What do you think?
Isn't that amazing? You know, and Kavanaugh and Gorsuch and Amy Coney Barrett aren't even making headlines, but they're all on the same side. They're all on board. I mean, most of them, right? Like, and you've got Alito and his wife and Vergonia and the flags. You've got Clarence Thomas and his 18-wheeler and his sugar daddies and all of the ways that dude is just in the pockets of, you know, psycho far-right billionaires. And then there's John Roberts. And for honestly, conservatives and liberals, they thought, you know, the court might still have a shred of decency because there's John Roberts and he's a good guy and he's more measured and sometimes he votes with the liberals and sometimes he votes with the conservatives. What a great sort of nonpartisan judge, the Chief Justice. No, man, he's just like the rest of them. He's just better at hiding it. He's just not a big enough idiot to fly a stupid upside down flag the day of January 6th, right? John Roberts, this is him throwing down with MAGA, hook, line, and sinker. This is him, the John Roberts who rejected the Senate's call for an ethics investigation, and to say nothing of just an interview, a questioning, a hearing with the highest law bench in the land. No, none of that. He's running cover for all of them. And I love this. You know why I love this? Because we can now be honest that our court is completely compromised. There has been a far right takeover of it. It is complete now. Obviously, the crown jewel is the overturning of Roe v. Wade, but there's a lot more to trample workers' rights, to trample all citizens' rights, to trample women's rights. There's more to trample LGBTQ plus people's rights. There's way more to come, and we need to reform this effing thing.
We 100% need to reform the court. And by the way, tomorrow on the show, I think we're gonna be doing some polling about what people think about possible reforms to the court. If you have for some reason been led to believe that you're crazy for thinking it should be reformed, no, that's what people think actually. And we're gonna talk about it tomorrow. But I just want everyone to remember, I'm not even just gonna do the normal thing of like, hey, this is one of the stakes for the election, which it 100% is. The court can't be saved in the next 4 years, but we can take an incredibly necessary step towards saving it. I just want everyone to just project your consciousness forward in the future. I want you to think right now about what this insane right-wing court has been capable of doing in just a few years. And not just Roe v. Wade, but stuff on guns and student loan debt and Chevron and all that stuff. Imagine what it could be like if we had the court. What could be done in 4 years, in 8 years? We've never experienced that. Like progressives, we've never had a court that was friendly to what we believe, but we in theory could, okay? And that's what people want. We could get it, So let's get there. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.